to go to ewpsx.store or find the merch store. There in the gamma oscillation yield interface module. And, just if you haven't already taken a look, we've got some wares you may be interested in. And of course, that provides crystals for the airship. That keeps me and Daryl and the other gnomes from crashing and burning for lack of fuel, yada, yada, yada. How about we get back to the music, shall we? It's EWPSX.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the ASTROLABE. Dick Cheney is dead. Press S to spit. No, that's not appropriate behavior. We're praying for his soul. He has much to account for, as will I. When I reach the end of my life, I'll have much to account for as well. So I cannot dance on the man's grave. But he is dead. He has passed. I went to the gas station earlier today. And I was like, drove past the school, and I was like, why is the flag at half-mast? And so I pulled out my phone, and I asked Grok. I was like, Grok, why is the flag at half-mast? And Grok said, oh, because Dick Cheney died. I was like, oh, that's right, Dick Cheney did die. I guess he was the vice president. I guess formalities and such. And if we're lovers of tradition, then perhaps we don't make exceptions on our formalities. Yes, he was a man who wrought great evil upon the world. He endorsed Kamala Harris at the end of his life. One of the last remotely notable thing that he did was endorsing the gay race communist who wants to destroy the country. But he was a vice president. And here we celebrate our leaders, good and bad. We pray for them. They're a part of American history. Oh, there goes the trash alarm. This is no longer relevant, but I just don't end the alarm for whatever reason. Yeah, he was the vice president. So yes, we'll put the flags at half-mast for him, and we'll also talk about what a piece of shit he was, and we'll pray for his soul. How you guys doing? This is going to be another short, quick lab because yet again, Mr. Jason Miranchuk has a banger stream lined up. I don't know how many of you guys went over and caught the conversation yesterday with Cleaved Antiquity and Ben Luigi. Very, very good. Really enjoyed it. Had a good time talking to those boys. Good to meet them. And conversation went very well. In spite of Luigi's, he had some technical issues, but the audio came through well enough, so it worked. Just a little bit of a lag. And now tonight, Jason is going to be hosting another interview show with the great Jim Jatras and the great Tom Luongo. Where are my Luongooners at? Let's get some Luongos in the chat in celebration. So I got about an hour to get through this. So I might, forgive me, Jason, I may go a little bit over. I have to. I've got some stuff to get into today, and it was actually kind of hard putting this together. There's not that many tabs really, because I knew I had a hard out. But I was trying to think. I was trying to organize my thoughts on all of this, and I'll say at the outset that they are currently in limbo. Haven't really planted my flag on one side or the other. I've had a hard time focusing today. Lots of other stuff going on, other stuff on my mind, and haven't been tracking things as closely as I might usually. But yeah, we're going to talk about this article, A Time for Choosing on Antisemitism. Got a couple other articles here as well about the whole Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, J.D. Vance, Mark Levin thing that has stirred up within the Republican Party. Of course, this is happening at the same time that the government shutdown is the whole, I don't know, the narrative around that is reaching a fever pitch. Seems like there may be something that's happening, and we'll see what comes of that. Many other different things happening, and there's a lot of stuff that's in flux. It's also a big voting day. It looks like I think the Virginia Attorney General, last I saw, Jason Miyares, who's the incumbent, the Republican incumbent, it looks like he may win out over, what's his name, Jason Jones? I don't know, I can't ever remember the guy's name. But the dude who was texting a colleague about how he wanted to see his Republican colleagues' children killed, so he could dance on their graves. Seems like he may be the one who doesn't make it through, but it's not looking good for any of the other Republican candidates. Though my guess is that the numbers are going to. It's kind of an interesting thing in that it was a long shot for all of them to begin with. So the fact that it's even a conversation is a positive. This is positive news. It's going to be framed really poorly. People are going to talk about how terrible the candidates were, and yes, the candidates were terrible. Yeah, New York Times declared Virginia for Spanberger already. Yes, the candidates were terrible, but these were states that recently, until 2024, would not have even been in consideration for any sort of Republican victory. So just making it a race is a serious advance from where things were just not even that long ago. We'll wait to see what the actual numbers are at the end of the day. I think one of the biggest things that this election cycle, little mini election cycle, is going to bring us is some data. Seeing there's a lot of interesting patterns that are emerging, and I've sort of had a pen in this, and I'm just kind of accumulating a general sense of the narrative, and I want to go back and drill down into the specifics afterwards. Because I kind of want to know what the outcome is going to be before I start trying to interpret and understand the data. But it seems like there's a lot of voter patterns changing. Increased turnout in rural and traditionally red districts, and decreased turnout in urban centers. The elections are on their cycle. That's right, Theodore Dragonsbane. So we're going to get some new data on this, and I think it's going to be indicative of the rest of the nation. But then, then this implicates the question of the government shutdown, how that gets resolved, what that means, the way it gets resolved, and how that determines things moving forward. And at this time of great flux, we also have this rather large narrative bomb that has exploded. And people are making moves on both sides, angling for the future of the Republican Party. And it's so fascinating that J.D. Vance is such a crucial character here, and he really has a foot in both camps. So it's a legitimate tug of war. And and I'll be honest, I don't even know how it's gonna. I don't have a read right now on how this is going to pan out. I suspect that we're not going to get a hard signal one way or the other, and this is going to be a debate that rages on until at least until the midterms, and then the various actions that the administration takes between now and the midterms, then between the midterms and the next election. Those actions themselves are going to affect and frame the debate. But either way, I think it's pretty clear that by the time 2028 rolls around, maybe even before then, we're going to get a pretty hard rubber band effect, um, in either direction. I think, and so yeah, this is good. I'm just starting to try to piece my thoughts out around all of this, because there's so many levels and layers to it, so much intrigue, more interesting than any TV show, like no question at all. What debate exactly? The great, what do you call it? The great Fuentes debate, whatever's happening right now. I've got some stuff on this here today, um, but it's kicking off. It's kicking off, and it's rippling up. This is no longer just like a social media spat. This is causing a great deal of institutional turmoil, and there's a lot of interest. There's different parties, different factions here that are all angling sort of independently. They have their own independent motivations, and kind of a big game of chicken, I would say, in a sense. And yeah, there's a lot of people who are treading very carefully, because I think they get the sense that this is a pretty significant moment. So there's many things that are up in the air. But sorry, I'm speaking kind of vaguely here. Before we get into this here, I just want to say, okay, so if you guys aren't here for the live chat, you miss out on some gems. Today we made a discovery. What is this discovery? This age-old song that so many of us grew up with, called "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World. This was the last song that played before we got started. And Straight Buster in the chat, he identified something that I'd seen this before. I hadn't really thought anything beyond just recognizing that Jimmy Eat World, the initials there, spell a very interesting word. And then the song is called "The Middle." And I'm posting, just kind of joking. It's called "The Middle" because they always set themselves up as middlemen. And then we start thinking about the lyrics here. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head. You feel left out or looked down on. Just try your best. Try everything you can. And don't you worry what they tell themselves when you're away. When you're away where? Okay. It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be all right. Middle of the ride. So I mean, like the surface level understanding of this, the like mainstream understanding of it would be, oh, it's like a song to a chick who's having going through some troubles, and maybe like boy troubles, or like people just won't accept her and she feels awkward in her own body, or whatever. But just hold on. You're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be all right. Hey, this verse 2. Hey, they're all the same. You're doing better on your own, so don't buy in. Live right now. Yeah, just be yourself. It doesn't matter if it's good enough for someone else. And then the last verse. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out or looked down on. Just do your best, do everything you can, and don't you worry what their bitter hearts are gonna say. What this there might be a little what is it called, pareidolia here, seeing patterns that are necessarily there. But isn't this interesting? A band with the initials Jew writes a big hit song called "The Middle," and it is a song that is ostensibly written to a young girl. Now, Mr. Sue has taken one side of this in the chat, as I've seen. He is using this to reaffirm his dislike of the band Jimmy Eat World. He says this is about human trafficking. And he is reading that as them bragging about it, lauding it, and perhaps they are. Or maybe this is them telling about it. Maybe this is them giving their, in a very subtle way, saying, hey, FYI, here's what's happening. Maybe they're heroes. Yes, I'm half joking as well. I think there's probably no pattern to this, apart from the great fun that just every once in a while things come together. Yeah, I've joked about it before. Is like sometimes the universe gives you a wink, which is of course said tongue in cheek. This is one of those. The universe is giving us a wink. Jimmy Eat World, initial spelled Jew, write a song called "The Middle" that seems like it could be vaguely understood to be about human trafficking. Oh, what a great world we live in. Let's hit this tip left over from last night, and you know what? Assuming everything worked right, it's already out of date. Race realist baddie.
I missed the first day of this voice. This is great. R.I.P. Reed Wife Thirst Trap Voice.
That's right. R.I.P. I think that's supposed to be trad wife. Someone's writing on an iPhone. Got hit by the autocorrect. If you have an iPhone and you've tried, maybe this is an Android thing too, I don't know. But if you try to type trad on your phone and you haven't typed it enough times, then it will autocorrect to read. R.I.P. trad wife thirst trap voice. My wife wants me to play it again. Play it again. No. I see what's happening here. No. Okay. Am I gonna have to change another one? Can I? I'm gonna pick like a no. I was gonna say a Chinese woman, but no, there's a thing for that too. What I don't know. Maybe a Finnish dude. I'm trying to think of the other options that are in there. The options really aren't great. There is no Irish. That's not one of the voices that's an option. I think it's actually, is that the same voice? I didn't even think about this, but is that the same voice as, yes, they do have Indians. I've thought about that. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it to an Indian's voice. I'm going to do this to you guys. You guys brought this upon yourselves. I'm going to change it to an Indian's voice. That's what it's going to be on the next one. I think this voice, if I remember right, I think this voice is the same one that Nick uses for his super chats, isn't it?
I missed the first day of this voice. This is great. R.I.P. Reed Wife Thirst Trap Voice.
Is that the same voice? Now I feel like I'm going nuts. I think it is the same voice. The streamer salary gets forwarded to a call center. Yeah.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Good morning, bastards.
Okay. I gotta put the link to the Make More Ericsson's fund right here. Please do tip your streamer. This is an entirely not just this show, but an entire lifestyle at this point. The bills that my family incurs, everything is funded entirely by this stream and those of you who support it. So please do go hit the tip link in the chat, tips.kingpill.com. Make More Ericsson's fund. We get this fund built up enough, and more Ericssons are, well, it's not that if we get this built up enough that more Ericssons are on the way. It's there's more Ericssons are going to be on the way either way. That's not an announcement. This is more Ericssons are coming. But in order for that, I just said that, didn't I? That's so good. Amy is losing it right now. There are going to be more Ericssons either way. The question is whether that's going to be more or less stressful. Okay. Let's get started here with some excellent AI slop. Just phenomenal AI slop. You guys have seen this guy before, Maverick Darby. He posted part 1 about a little over a week ago, 10 days ago, and I had this saved for a show and had to drop it out because I don't remember why, something at the last minute. I had to speed it up. And then he came out with a part 2. So, you guys are very lucky. You get to see this Jeopardy guest star Donald Trump. He says they're going to ban AI after this. Apologies in advance.
Categories are, that's a globalist. Next up, 9/11, followed by famous fentanyl overdose deaths. Then we've got It's a Man Baby. Finally, we've got What a Fag. Notice F-A...
And Just so you guys know, to connect a dot for you, this.
What a fag.
That is from one of his past videos that he made. And this one got him when he produced this one got him on InfoWars. I don't know if that was the first time or not, but so there's that reference for you.
We've got It's a Man Baby. Finally, we've got What a Fag. Notice F-A-G is in quotations there. Don, we'll start with you.
Let's try fag for $400, Alex.
Harry Sisson, an online content creator.
Like that line right there, I have to put that in the soundboard.
With you.
Let's try fag for $400, Alex.
That just straight in the soundboard.
Harry Sisson, an online content creator.
What is a massive fucking faggot?
That's it.
That one
Don,
too.
you've got the board.
Let's go fag for $600, Alex.
California Governor Gavin Newsom.
What is a total fag?
Oh, so close, but not quite there. Yes. Alex?
What is a raging faggot?
Raging indeed. Alex, go ahead and choose the next
My
category.
soundboard's going to be so full.
Let's do famous fentanyl overdose deaths for 1,000.
Hey, that's not a real $20 bill. This random criminal became the face of a George Soros color revolution in 2020.
Who is St. Floyd?
I'm checking with the judges, and yes, St. Floyd or George Floyd both work here. Alex, next category, please.
The N-word. Let's go with It's a Man Baby for 1,000.
Woohoo!
Daily double. Alex, what would you like to wager on this one?
So let's make it a true daily double, Alex.
This former First Lady is built like a linebacker, and many have suggested she is actually a he.
Oh boy, who is Big Mike?
Big Mike or Michelle Obama. Absolute pythons for arms, and maybe one in her pants as well. Alex, you've got control. Go ahead.
It's like I basically need to take this entire video and turn it into soundboard drops. Like that last line. Imagine that as a standalone drop here. The last line from Alex.
Who is Big Mike?
Big Mike or Michelle Obama. Absolute pythons for arms, and maybe one in her pants as well. Alex, you've got control. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, so that's part one. Here's part two. Jeopardy X, episode 2. Guest star Donald Trump. What have I done? What have you done indeed, sir?
Let's dive right in. Here are today's categories. Starting off, we've got raped by a computer. Uh-oh. Then, it's Disney adults.
I'm just thinking about each of these as a standalone.
Raped by a computer. Here are today's categories. Starting off, we've got raped by a computer. Uh-oh.
Raped by a computer. Uh-oh.
Then, it's Disney adults. No thanks, right? Next is American alliteration. Answers will be 2 words that start with the
No
same
thanks.
letter, followed by fact or fiction. And last, we've got cool it, retard. Take careful note, retard is in quotations there. It looks like JD has not yet returned from the bathroom, so his alternate, Robert, will be taking his place. Alex, you've got the lead and you're in control.
With all due respect, the globalists are in control, but I'll take retard for $400.
At lunchtime in New York City, you can find Zohran Mamdani, a communist mayoral candidate, bare-handing rice like an animal. To normal, civilized Americans,
Like an animal.
it's this.
What is a retarded way to eat?
You're not wrong. Don, go ahead. Next category.
Zoran's a total pig. But let's go with fact or fiction for $800, Alex.
Lesbians. Yes, Robert?
What is fiction?
Total ruse. You're in command now, Bobby. What'll it be?
This is so well done. Every single one of there is, what is this, 3 minutes and 21 seconds? The last one was 1 minute and 47 seconds. So there is a solid 5 minutes here where basically every 5 seconds, there is either a sentence or a back and forth that is on its own a standalone fantastic punchline.
Let's try cool it retard for 600.
The subversive pro-sodomy catchphrase, love is uttered by these three groups. Yes, Alex?
Who are flamers, Satanists, and retards?
3 up, 3 down. Love is love, and poop is poop. See, I can do it too.
Love is love, and poop is poop out of Alex Trebek's voice. God, I love AI.
Alex, what's our next category?
Tough call, but let's go with rape by a robot for $800.
This terminally online leftist faggot recently became the star of his very own cartoon show. However, he was first made famous when Elon Musk's Grok chatbot jackhammered his bottom.
Who is Harry Sisson?
Great educated guess, but no. Alex?
Who is Nazi cosplay aficionado Will Stancil?
Duh.
It do be like that.
It do be like that, yes.
Next category, please.
Let's do American alliteration for $800.
Stop. Hammer time. This Bay Area senator's husband had an embarrassing whodunit involving someone many speculated was a male prostitute in 2022.
Who is Pesky Paul Pelosi?
That's it. Paul's usually trading stock tips, but this was a different kind of tip drill, allegedly. Don, next category.
Let's try American alliteration for 1,000, Alex.
Answer, Daily Double.
Yes, my president. My president's going to win.
What'll it be, Don? Risk it all or play it safe?
Don will wager 1776, Alex.
Don?
May the spirit of 1776 flow through me, Alex.
The lifeblood of the conservative movement. They drive Chevy Suburbans, don't believe in Fauci's nonsense, and enjoy the DarbyCast podcast.
I love them. You love them. We all love them, quite frankly. What are MAGA moms?
MAGA moms, very fierce women. And the question didn't mention it, but I think it's worth highlighting that some of them are pretty darn chesty. We like that.
Yeah, we love our MAGA moms, don't we? Maverick Darby. Brilliant. This is peak art. Absolutely fantastic. Tremendous propaganda. Our guys have completely and utterly taken over the propaganda war. The world is our oyster. The MAGA MILFs. Easy there, Mr. Sue. We might have to get the bonk stick out. We're treading dangerously close already in this episode. I forgot to put the bonk stick in the chat, so. Chimp Choker. Oh, yeah, there we go. Chimp Choker. What's up, man? Great name. Also, thank you to Skudubnevsky for gifting a couple of subs here. One to Mr. Sue and one to Gluten Doodle. You guys have earned yourselves an Erica. Auf der Heide blüht ein kleines Blümelein. Und das heißt Erika. Beautiful. All right, speaking of AI, those who have listened to a lot of EWBSX, you may this may give you the same association that it gave me. Look at this guy here.
The N-word.
The African science man. Watch this.
I've been doing calculations, as well as looking back at old NASA footage and raw data from satellites hovering above Earth. And I just can't escape the conclusion that the Earth might actually be flat.
Oh!
That's not me. It was never me. Those aren't my words.
Too bad.
That's what's called a deep fake.
We're going to get deep faked, boys. Oh, no. Nobody's going to be able to trust anything. It's all breaking down. We're going to need experts. You see the grift, right? Wait. No. We haven't been eliminated. Our credibility has not been completely and utterly destroyed. An expert class. We need an expert class. Yeah. We were wrong about climate change. It's AI. The Antichrist. You're gonna need a royal priesthood to combat the wiles of the Antichrist. They're not going away. They're going to stay around. And that means that we get to do things like Maverick Darby's Jeopardy. We get to do these things to them. We're not stuck. This is what they don't get. We're not stuck in here with them. They're stuck in here with us. They don't realize it yet, but they're going to. They're going to. We're going to make them realize it. This one here was speaking of black men. This one here, I want to see what you guys think, because I was undecided when I watched this. Comedian Godfrey really snapped with his impression of President Donald Trump right in front of the U.S. Army troops in Washington, D.C. He's walking this line really well between, whoa, holy shit, he does look like Greg Bavino. I didn't even think about that. Wow. That's Sicilian Greg Bavino. It's hard to tell here who he's actually satirizing, who he's taking shots at. I think he's taking shots at Trump, but it's kind of hard to tell.
So here's your president. I'm in Washington. I send out my black soldiers. Can you believe it? I got black.
Here's the great thing too, is even if he is doing this, even if he is trying to do this as a shot at Trump, it's just funny. It's just funny. This is what makes him Teflon Don. And JD is taking on a lot of the same qualities.
Soldiers. They're some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. I surround myself with black soldiers just in case, so people think I'm so racist. I'm not racist. I'm farther from being racist. Look at my black soldiers, all three of them. Out of the thousands of white soldiers I have, I found 3 black ones. Isn't that great? 3 of them. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I should get like the Jackson 5. I only got 3 of them. They're great. Look at them. I got a short one. Look at that one. I got a medium. I got a bigger one. They're all great. Protecting DC, we have to protect them. And I guarantee you I'm going to hire more black soldiers very soon. Very soon. You guys are great. Hey, thank you for your service, okay? Thank you for your service. Thank God. They should be cleaning my floors, but it's okay. Everything is just fine. This is great. U.S. Army. Black soldiers, black ones. I love them so well. They look very good. The green looks good on your skin. Look at it. It's fantastic. Isn't that fantastic?
Really, really good impression. And, I mean, yeah, I'm vaguely aware of Godfrey. I assume he's a lib. But, you know, if you're going to do a good impression of him, it's only going to make him more, it just makes him more likable. You know, you're not going to change someone's mind over something like this. They're either, if they already hate him, they're just going to keep hating him. And if they have a soul, if they've got a sense of humor, then they're just going to laugh. So the good comedians, the ones with talent, are actually going to move. They're just going to kind of follow what's funny, what's authentic and what's real. And so they're gonna make fun of him. But this actually plays a part in breaking down taboos around this sort of thing. The White House, this is a couple days ago, but the White House posted this. WhiteHouse.gov/MySafeSpace. Hakeem is in your extended shutdown network. Can I pull this down just a little bit? Oh, no, that's just starting it over. Whatever. Let's see here. We love DEI, transgender for everyone, and handing out taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. We couldn't care less if our men and women in uniform get paid or if our neighborhoods are safe. We just love playing politics with people's livelihood. Okay, I wanted to be quiet. There we go. This is the best part, though, right here. Hakeem's friends. His top 8. Joe Biden with a picture of the auto pen. Fenty Girl. Antifa. Soros. Chucky. Real Chucky. Maryland Dad. And Tampon Tim. Nicknames: Sombrero Guy, Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, and Chuck E. Cheese Obama. Who I'd like to meet? Honestly, we couldn't meet enough members of Antifa or illegal immigrants. They're so awesome. And then, look at this. Look at the song they put on the profile. It's a wink. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is just so the audio only people can hear it. That'll definitely get the stream struck if I try to play that. Well, let's see. There was some other little Easter eggs in this. Let me see if I can find them. Television, books, movies, the shutdown, other people's money, Ghostbusters, and Snow White. Ultimate mariachi music playlist for a fiesta under their music. Oh, what else did they have here? Their pictures. Oh, they got the picture here of Hakeem Jeffries with the sombrero. Videos. What'd they do for videos? Oh, Trump did the Monster Mash. What else do they got here? Voting record. Senate's blocked a Hill article. Senate Democrats block government funding bill for the 13th time. It's still up there. With the clock, Democrats have shut down the government for 34 days, 21 hours, 31 minutes, and counting. This is a real URL. My Safe Space, a place for Dems. Whitehouse.gov/MySafeSpace. Yeah, Zoomer deal. And a government website is shitting on the libs and you're blackpilling? Living Dead says, official White House MySpace parodies to shit on the libs. We truly live in the best era. No kidding. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well done. This is just a funny little story here talking about New York. This is from Semaphore. How a London newspaper botched a New York political story. The scoop. As the New York City mayor's race entered its home stretch this week, a reporter for the Times of London, Bevan Hurley, sent an email to Bill de Blasio. He wanted to know what the former mayor of New York City thought about the upcoming race. He received an incredible response. While de Blasio has supported Democrat Zohran Mamdani's campaign, the former mayor confessed in an email to the New Zealand-born journalist that while he admired Mamdani's ambition, the Democratic nominee was making dangerously, quote, optimistic assumptions about how much money new taxes would bring in. Quote, in my view, the math doesn't hold up under scrutiny and the political hurdles are substantial, de Blasio wrote. The Times, part of the Murdoch family's News Corp empire, which has been waging a broad campaign against the Democratic Socialist candidate, rushed to print with the explosive story that the former mayor had broken with his would-be successor. Its sister publication, the New York Post, quickly aggregated and amplified it. Melissa DeRosa, a top aide to Mamdani's opponent, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, weighed in to amplify the story. The only problem? The email had not come from the former mayor at all. De Blasio responded with shock, demanding the Times retract the story. Quote, it is an absolute violation of journalistic ethics. The truth is, I fully support Zohran Mamdani and believe his vision is both necessary and achievable. The former mayor marveled, via text messages to Semaphore, that he'd never had this experience in 25 years of public life. So how did the Times, a pillar of quality British journalism since the 18th century, blow the story so badly? Part of the push came from the top. As the New York mayor's race approaches, the Times of London had accelerated its push for more and largely hostile coverage of Mamdani. That campaign has been driven internally by Margie Conklin, a New York Post veteran who is most recently managing editor at the Free Press, according to two people with knowledge of the situation. The Free Press would be the Barry Weiss outlet. Conklin did not assign or edit the de Blasio article, a person familiar with the coverage said. Three people familiar with the situation told Semaphore that Hurley reached out to an email address the reporter believed belonged to the former mayor of New York. It's unclear where he got the address, or who it actually belongs to. In a statement shared with outlets including Semaphore, a News UK spokesperson blamed the debacle on whoever that email address belongs to, saying the paper had, quote, apologized to Bill de Blasio and removed the article immediately after discovering that our reporter had been misled by an individual falsely claiming to be the former New York mayor. Semaphore reached out to a Gmail address or sources believed to be the one used by the Times. Quote, you are correct. It was me, the real Bill de Blasio, the person who controls the email address responded. The person didn't respond to further questions, and phone calls to two numbers associated with the email address went unanswered. Conklin and Hurley didn't respond to inquiries. The Times is hardly alone in its hunger for Mamdani content, always a source of off-year political fascination. The New York mayor's race has nonetheless attracted a huge amount of national and global attention. Mamdani, Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa, yada, yada, yada. The Times has already had a bad week. On Monday, it deleted a story claiming that the British Treasury Secretary had spent taxpayer money lavishly on office decor at a time when the country is hotly debating austerity measures. But New York's media political circus is a particularly unforgiving place. The Times-era immediately garnered write-ups in the Washington Post, the New York Times, New York Magazine, and other outlets. As British publications continue to look toward expansion in the U.S. and try to muscle in on turf long occupied by the aggressive New York press corps, they may find American media competitors to be more than happy to point out their errors. What a funny, funny little story. They emailed. Now, I don't know here if the guy's name was actually Bill de Blasio. There was another Bill de Blasio, and they got his address, and he was not the Bill de Blasio. But he just decided to, yeah, you wanted Bill de Blasio's take, so I'm going to give, my name's Bill de Blasio, and I'm going to give you Bill de Blasio's take. It's kind of an unlikely. It seems like an unlikely answer. It's kind of an uncommon name, so. But either way, it's interesting that this became is being framed by Semaphore, which is like a straightforward sort of Obama Clinton-esque, like neoliberal kind of place. It's being framed here as a turf war between British media and American media. That's you have a British outlet that wants to weigh in on the New York election, and they end up absolutely bumbling. And whether it was a trap that was laid for them that they just jumped into, which is probably what I think would be most likely. Someone gave them an email address and had someone else pose as him, and they just took it because they're just kind of uncritically publishing it and got a massive amount of egg on their face. So the territorial nature of even regionally like this, even among the libs, these sorts of divides, there is that territorialness that's existent already. It's which, once you kind of tap into it enough, then even the libs are going to come around on something like nationalism, because they have this as hostilities are amplified more and more between the two regions. Your attachment to your local region and your local domain is too inherent. It's too fundamental to your being that you can't. They'll express it like a neolib would, but I think it's interesting that as the thing is the crisis or the conflict between the Eurozone and the United States is amplifying. It's even penetrating into the lib world as well, even though that's not necessarily where it's being amplified from in the first place. Speaking of faggots, here's Mike Pence, who has just announced a new book. What interesting timing. Very, very interesting time for Mike Pence to announce a new book. What is this book? What is it called? What Conservatives Believe, Rediscovering the Conservative Conscience. Because when I'm looking for conscience, man I look to is Mike Pence. Look at him. Doesn't he look like a man of conscience? Doesn't he look like just a moral authority? Of course he's publishing this book now. Here's what it's about. This is going to be a banger. They're not going to be able to keep this on the shelves. I'll walk you through why Ronald Reagan and Barry Goldwater's conservative principles of limited government must win out over big government populism. Secure your copy today before it hits shelves in 2026. Mike Pence, What Conservatives Believe, Rediscovering the Conservative Conscience. So apparently what the conservative conscience is Reaganite, Goldwaterite, conservative principles of limited government winning out over big government populism. This is where they're pivoting to, the Mike Pence realm of politics. He's absolutely setting himself up for a run for president in 2028. Says he's a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican, in that order. He's absolutely setting himself up to win. And what is he doing? Oh, well, rhetorically, they are going to angle to the right of Trump. They're going to say Trump is not Republican enough. We're going to call up Barry Goldwater. Mike fucking Pence is going to call back to Barry Goldwater and declare himself the inheritor of Barry Goldwater's legacy. And say Trump is too much of a leftist. He's a big government guy, big government populism. That sounds like communism. Big government populism. We can't have big government populism. I think the coalition is getting a little clearer. We're starting to see the lines on which things are going to be divided. Yes, Lily Milk, everyone is scrambling to be more right-wing. No, I'm the real right-winger. Oh, it's me. I will be the one. So now we're going to go back to, we're going to say, Trump obviously has great respect and love for Ronald Reagan and always has, and looks at him as an icon and talks about himself as the inheritor of Reagan's legacy. And ironically, most of Trump's base doesn't really like that. They're like, Reagan wasn't nearly the great legendary conservative American legend that he was cast as. And trying to continue the Reagan worldview is not a desirable thing. Which makes it so ironic then that they want to angle for his base, but the thing they're going to do is they're going to lean into Ronald Reagan and Barry Goldwater. So Trump is having Pat Buchanan, whether he wanted it or not, Trump is going to have Pat Buchanan and Richard Nixon forced upon him. He's going to be cast as the reincarnation of them. There's a self-realizing nature to these things. He's going to be pushed that way naturally. He may fight it, but that wing of the Republican Party is going to be strengthened and amplified by this. This is a good example of hyperstition. And so it'll be, what's fascinating is that of all of the people of all the people who would be potential candidates for president, I think J.D. Vance might be one of the few who could actually intelligibly parse what's happening here. Who would actually understand it. I don't think Rubio would get this. I think Rubio I would see Rubio as being much more likely to align with Mike Pence on something like this. Or at least, maybe not Mike Pence specifically, but I think he would be inclined to think this way and endorse this perspective. It's like revival of BoomerCon. It's like the revival of the BoomerCon aesthetic, but not the actual BoomerCon. Well, it is the actual BoomerCon politics with the BoomerCon aesthetic. So it is BoomerCon. I mean, that's the direction that I guarantee you Mike Pence has substantial backing on something like this. Former vice president, he's a flyover country guy. Like he's absolutely going to have substantial backing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up being the one that the entire neoconservative movement rallies around behind, especially if he starts talking this way, because the whole this is going to be very, very appealing to a lot of the DeSantis, National Review, even a lot of the kind of normie libertarian types are going to just fall all over themselves for this sort of rhetoric. Oh, the free market, limited government, legalization of drugs and the decriminalization of things. And that's the angle that they're going to run on. They're going to run on libertarianism, essentially. So I think this really stuck out to me when I saw this. I was like, oh, he's running. And with everything that's happening right now between the pro-Israel and anti-Israel factions among the right, this timing is just too perfect. And note that this big hullabaloo that's kicked up with the Mark Levins of the world, Randy Fine, all of the most ardent Zionists, going totally balls to the wall, all out, attacking Tucker. Really, they're attacking Tucker more than they're attacking Nick. They're attacking Tucker for platforming Nick, and they're sort of attacking Nick in the process. Ben Shapiro's going after Nick more so than Tucker, but they're forcing Nick and Tucker into a coalition together. when normally there wouldn't have really been a lot of incentive for that to happen. There's substantial differences between the two factions, like the Tucker Carlson Americans and the Nick Fuentes Americans. But there are also a number of people who are Tucker Carlson Americans and Nick Fuentes Americans already. So there is precedent for people kind of crossing crossing over and sort of, joining hands across the divide, so to speak. People who decide, you know what, I like Nick and I like Tucker. So they're pushing them into this camp and attacking Tucker on this basis. And so they're manifesting the coalition they want to run against. They want to run against the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes wing of the Republican Party. And this is, I think, what it is instructive. I had a couple of my tabs out of order here. So what's instructive here about this article that was published by Mark Levin. And Rhett Koppel here said this is a veiled warning to Vance, and I think that's exactly what it is. Outstanding National Review editorial, says Mark Levin, shared, circulated. It's time to choose, and that includes every candidate for public office. The 2028 GOP presidential primary will be decisive. And here is the article, A Time for Choosing on Antisemitism. This was published October 30th, 3 days after the Nick Tucker interview. They were ready to jump on this. Tucker Carlson, knee-deep already, has taken another step into the muck with a friendly interview with Nick Fuentes. The issue isn't merely that Carlson platformed a white nationalist influencer. This framing allows Carlson and his defenders to portray the interview and others like it as an effort at open debate, as a good-faith attempt at engagement with alternative views. So there's the instant saying, no, our problem isn't that he platformed a white nationalist. No, this isn't a free speech issue. It's disingenuous to make this into a free speech issue. You are the double talkers. You know how we know? Because we know that Carlson and his defenders are double talkers. They're being subversives. They're trying to, under the auspices of, free speech, they're trying to insinuate these things into the narrative, and it's not acceptable. Wow. Projection much, Mark? The deeper problem is that Carlson didn't actually challenge any of Fuentes' noxious views that he has spelled out quite clearly over the years. I don't even know if he actually listened to it. I'd be surprised if he actually did. It didn't even matter. The narrative was ready to roll. It was already put together. They could have talked about literally anything. I'd be surprised if he even actually sat down and listened to the interview. He's just publishing the ready-made attack line immediately. Because obviously, almost the entire interview was, to anybody who actually has listened to these guys, almost the entire interview was Tucker pushing back on Nick. They agreed on very little. It was almost constantly Tucker pushing, prodding, prying, pushing back on him. So if there is any sort of affection or a penchant for alliance between the Fuentes and Tucker worlds, it's very uneasy. However, they're being pushed together. And we've seen this happen before. This is the exact same playbook we've seen so many times. Fuentes has engaged in Holocaust denial, calling Adolf Hitler really fucking cool, and said that if his movement gained power, it would execute perfidious Jews. One of the funny things is that if you listen to Nick, there's his show in the style of it is very much kind of like the group chat coming to life, where like this is just how guys talk around each other, especially if you're in any sort of group chat or whatever. This is how everybody talks. It's just very normal, natural, all over Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everyone just sort of just casually talks this way. So when these clips get played to probably anybody under 40, they immediately recognize it for what it is. That it's like it's shock jock stuff. It's intentionally over the top and provocative for the sake of just sticking a finger in the eyes of the stuffy boomers. Carlson didn't even need to go back through old clips to find objectionable statements in his appearance. Fuentes stated that the big challenge to unifying the country against tribal interests was, quote, organized Jewry in America, and he expressed admiration for Soviet butcher Joseph Stalin. I can understand why Mark Levin would be very, very upset about any sort of suggestion that someone might not be immediately completely revolted by and denounce Joseph Stalin. He did not receive any pushback from Carlson. It also can't be said that Carlson's interviewing style is simply to let his guests speak. In June, Carlson held a combative interview with Senator Ted Cruz that descended into an extended shouting match. Now, this is a very interesting comparison, because I think there is something to this. Why would Carlson choose to take an oppositional tack to a senator who has been fighting for conservatism for decades, but not to a podcaster who praises Stalin? The obvious answer is that Fuentes is an avowed Jew hater, while Cruz is a staunch supporter of Israel. Now, part of this is the fact that Ted Cruz is a fucking sitting senator, and Nick Fuentes is a Zoomer podcast bro. However, in the conversation that just dropped between Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson, Tucker says in that Nick Fuentes, like it or not, is the most influential person on the internet right now for young men. That his influence in his audience far outstrips both his, Tucker's, and Dave's. And Dave completely agreed with him. So whether you agree with that point or not, that's what Tucker thinks. So I don't buy that Tucker was like, well, Ted Cruz has power and Nick Fuentes doesn't. So I'm going to approach the conversation differently. No, there actually is a basis for seeing eye to eye between Tucker and Nick. And both of them see that and both of them recognize that. That's an organic coming together. This isn't a psyop that they're being someone's manipulating things and insinuating them together, apart from just the mere fact that by being attacked together, they're being pushed together in that way. But that is the psyop's out in the open. There isn't some secret backer there who's kind of like, oh, let's get Fuentes affiliated with Trump. Hey, Tucker, give Nick a call, bring him in and talk to him. No, they both legitimately see that they have a lot of common ground, and they want to. They're beginning to test that out. Carlson stated during his interview that he thinks Cruz, Mike Huckabee, and other figures who are Christian and support Israel have been infected by a brain virus. About these Christian Zionists, he said, quote, I dislike them more than anybody because it's Christian heresy and I'm offended by that as a Christian.
Our religion is based.
Absolutely. Based Tucker Carlson. His contempt presumably extends to a swath of evangelical Christians, the vast majority of whom are strongly pro-Israel. It would be easy to dismiss Carlson and his now extensive history of promoting antisemitism as the handiwork of another personality desperate for attention in the online economy. But Carlson is one of the nation's most prominent and influential commentators. Right. Anybody who's saying that Tucker's just doing this for clicks or views they're inviting themselves out of the conversation. They're revealing their mental handicaps. After the death of Charlie Kirk, Carlson has become a leading speaker for the organization that Kirk founded, Turning Point USA. When Vice President J.D. Vance subbed in as a host on Kirk's podcast after the assassination, Carlson was his guest. So here what we've done is Nick Fuentes said very, very bad things. Tucker didn't respond to those very bad things in the way that I like, so I'm going to attach Tucker to Nick, and then I'm going to attach J.D. Vance to Tucker. Carlson's sway, though, is currently limited by the fact that President Trump, who happens to like Jews and who has been the strongest supporter of Israel of any U.S. president in history. This is more attempts at hyperstition here. Because there's a degree to which this is true, but it's also very obviously not true. Evidenced by the fact that they feel the need to have this full court press to try to win back the sentiment. Because they recognize that the Trump administration is not nearly as pro-Israel as past administrations have been. And it's fascinating that this is another thing where you get these two different groups that hate each other that both land on this point. Nick and Mark Levin both agree that Trump is very close to Israel. That Trump has a special place in his heart for Israel. Both of them agree with that fact. And they both hate each other. There's so many fascinating, moving alignments here. In June, Trump ignored Carlson and joined Israel's effort to take out Iran's nuclear program, which was successful in neutralizing a threat that had been looming over the Middle East for decades without any U.S. casualties. Carlson had predicted that it would trigger World War III and that it could kill thousands of Americans within a week. Trump dismissed him as kooky Tucker Carlson. And here I think Tucker was wrong about this. Legitimately, I understand why he was wrong. I understand that he wanted to err on the side of caution. And at the time, he said that he was like, I could be completely wrong about this and I'm going to end up looking like an idiot. But, when you go on the record saying, if you bomb Iran, then thousands of Americans are going to die within a week. If you're going to go out and say something like that, if you're wrong, you're wrong. You got to take that one on the chin. Trump won't be around forever, though, which is one reason that Carlson, Fuentes, Candace Owens, and other online influencers are pushing so hard to try and remake the Republican Party and the conservative movement into one that is hostile toward Israel and the Jewish people. You should go listen to Nick's stream that he did. Yes, I think it was yesterday's stream. I started listening to it last night and then finished it today, where he goes through this speech or like this interview that Mark Levin gave, where Levin just says straight up that we Jews are wealthy and powerful, and we control the U.S. government, and we're not gonna. What was the one line? The one line was like basically it was Judea and Samaria are off the table when we say they're off the table. It was just straight up him being like, yes, all the JQ rumors are true and it's a good thing, was Mark Levin's take. They are going whole hog on this. The idea that it should be seen as the America First position to oppose Israel and American Jewry is not only a moral abomination, it makes no sense. Israel is a technologically innovative, staunchly pro-American nation at the heart of a strategically important region. There's many things that are wrong with that. Basically, that entire sentence is wrong. Each point in that is wrong. But the idea that it should be seen as the America First position to oppose Israel and American Jewry. What did you think America First meant? Vibes? Essays? Over the past several years with U.S. support, Israeli actions have weakened the anti-American terrorist group, the Houthis, neutered Hezbollah, the terrorist group that slaughtered 241 U.S. service members in the 1983 Marine barracks bombing, and crippled the nuclear program of a nation that has for decades vowed death to America. It isn't pro-Israel protesters in the U.S. who are burning American flags and calling for the total eradication of Western civilization. It is the so-called pro-Palestine movement. It wasn't Israelis who handed out candy to celebrate the September 11th attacks. It was Palestinians. The Israelis were dancing. George Washington, in a famous letter to a Jewish congregation in Newport, Rhode Island in 1790, wrote, quote, "May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants." End quote. American Jews have enjoyed more security and freedom here than at any place in world history, and were awarded that welcome by making positive contributions to the nation in just about every field imaginable. a version of America that is no longer safe for Jews to live in securely and that is overtaken by anti-Israel zealots is not an America that any conservative should want to live in. This is a broadside at J.D. Vance. He is being told to choose a side. Now, interesting thing here. This is a real quote from George Washington. And, you know, this is actually like, this is true, yes. If you are, I don't know, Stephen Miller, if you are a Jew, someone of the stock of Abraham, and you live in this nation, and you are America first, and your loyalty is to America above all else, yeah, you're welcome here. There is nobody with any sort of political power who is saying that you cannot be here. Nick Fuentes does not believe that everyone of Jewish ancestry should be purged from the country. Tucker Carlson obviously doesn't believe that. Nobody believes this. It is true that American Jews have enjoyed more security and freedom here than at any place in world history. And it is true that there are American Jews who have rewarded that welcome by making positive contributions to the nation. That's right. You know who is not included in that category? Mark Levin. Mark Levin is not an American Jew who has rewarded the security and freedom found here by making positive contributions to the nation. They want to wear the mantle of their own countrymen. They want to take credit for their own countrymen's accomplishments. And say, because those Jews did good things for the country, therefore your allegiance is to Israel. No. No, our allegiance is not to Israel. Our allegiance is to America. If your allegiance is to Israel, go to Israel. Or even, let's be very reasonable about this. You can live here, but you're not going to have citizenship here. Let's go back to the old times. We're just living in an area didn't mean you had citizenship there. You can live here on some sort of visa, and you'll have limitations on like what sort of social benefits you get. You won't be able to vote. But sure, you could be a permanent resident. That's a very reasonable thing. This exists in other parts of the world. Very normal way to handle this sort of thing. But if your allegiance is to Israel, you, by definition, are not America first. It's very interesting that this is sparking up when it is. With everything else that's going on at the moment. And I can't help but notice that there are two people who have not weighed in on this basically at all. There's an interview with J.D. Vance that I think I'll play for you guys tomorrow. A little bit shorter one with Miranda Devine. It's very interesting conversation. And yeah, that's right, Zoomer Dylan. Even the country of Israel does that. Yes. But there's two people, very interesting ones, who have not weighed in on this. One of them is J.D. Vance. The other is Stephen Miller. Both of them are locked in. And I would say that it's best for it to stay that way for the time being. There's a lot that's yet to happen on all of this. And I've got a couple of articles here, a couple other ones that we'll get into on tomorrow's show. A New York Times article posits Nick Fuentes as Charlie Kirk's successor after being Kirk's bitter enemy. And it is an interesting one. I have some thoughts on it. I'll read through that. It's quite short. That's one of the things that's interesting to me about it. And then also, Sign of the Times, Heritage Foundation staffer, quote, talking with some of the interns, I think that there are a growing number of them who actually agree. with the views Fuentes espoused. And a quote from that New York Times article is that something like 30 to 40% of Republican staffers are groypers. This is what happens when Nick Fuentes tells his followers to go embed themselves in politics, and the establishment GOP says go work at Panda Express. Yeah, they made Nick look like Zac Efron for the New York Times cover, very much so. But it's interesting that the article really, I guess a little cheater here, the article really lacks substance. It's short and it doesn't have much to it. The only purpose of the article was that there would be a New York Times article about Nick Fuentes. And it's kind of just fluff. There's a couple little nuggets in it, but it's mostly just fluff. And then this Heritage Foundation one is interesting because of the things that have happened with Kevin Roberts with the Heritage Foundation. So we'll get into that on tomorrow's show. I'm going to wrap here after a couple of quick videos because I see that Mr. Jason Murinchuk just went live with the great Tom Luongo and Jim Jatras. So let me finish this up and I will send you guys over there to 2X your way up to live. First of all, this Mr. Brylan Hollyhand, Sieg Heilen with Brylan. Let me get some Romans in the chat for Brylan. We are Sieg Heilen with Brylan. Brylan has declared war on the Groypers. And look at note the points that he makes here. This is very, very interesting. Very much a sign of the times where the entire American right is being remade in real time right now. But I'll play this for you, and then I have one more video after this.
There's a cancerous ideology spreading on the right from a small but loud group I call the woke rights. They scream hate.
Oh, he calls them the woke rights. The woke rights. Man, you're clever, son. Where did you get that? Where'd you get that big old brain?
No thanks, irrelevant pervert.
Pretend it's courage. Here's the problem, though. The left didn't disavow their cancerous ideology years ago, when the squad was just a radical fringe having press conferences. And now that loud minority grew into their base, and that movement is about to elect a socialist to run America's biggest city. If we don't call out our own in the name of winning elections, this fringe will drag our party off a cliff like the squad did to the left. I refuse to let that happen to us. You can be a bold conservative without being a bitter one. We can call out bad things the Israeli government does without blaming the Jews for every minor inconvenience in our life.
The total reincarnation of Lindsey Graham, the epitome of establishment GOP faggy conservative. That position is now, we can call out bad things the Israeli government does. Who is compromising with whom here? Who is moving? We're not moving. They're moving. All of a sudden now it's the moderate, reasonable position to say, yeah, we can call out bad things the Israeli government does. What's next?
Just like we can call out AIPAC for bankrolling American politicians and say that should be banned.
Brylan Hollyhand says that we should be calling out AIPAC for bankrolling American politicians. And that AIPAC, bankrolling American politicians, should be banned. Who's winning the narrative war here?
Just like we can demand secure borders while getting only the best and brightest in America without banning all legal immigration. I mean, I didn't fight to...
Okay, that was, but still, we have, we could demand secure borders. Fascinating seeing which direction the Overton window is moving.
In the old establishment of the Grand Old Party and kick out the neo-immigration. I mean, I didn't fight to end the old establishment.
I didn't fight to end... Motherfucker, you're like 18. You haven't fought shit.
Of the Grand Old Party.
I mean, you fight the gay thoughts every day, or maybe you don't. But apart from that, you haven't fought anything. But what does he go on to say?
All legal immigration. I mean, I didn't fight to end the old establishment of the Grand Old Party and kick out the neocons.
Kick out the neocons. Neocon is now a toxic slur. among the Mike Pence Republicans. Remember, what is the mainstream GOP doing now? It's tacking toward Barry Goldwater.
Just to replace it with hate. We're supposed to be the party of faith and freedom, not anger and chaos. If we sit on our hands and allow the mainstreaming of people fantasizing rape, idealizing Stalin, and proudly saying they're Team Hitler,
we will not allow the mainstreaming of Will Stancil. Nah, Will Stancil must be replaced. We have our new and improved Will Stancil here. I know that he's cosplayed as a Nazi officer in the past. Just look at him. I'm Sieg Heiland with Bryland, boys.
we don't only lose every single election going forward by legitimizing the lie that the left says we're Hitler Jr., but we also lose the moral war that conservatives are here to uphold. Hate killed the left. If we're not careful, we're going to be next.
Oh, man, he really thought he cooked with that one. Isn't that interesting, though? Isn't that fascinating? So in the midst of this great turmoil, this great fight over the identity of the Republican Party, who is it that's actually giving ground? All right, got a couple of tips here, and then I will send you guys over to... Oh, yeah, good call.
What a fag.
Indeed. They've been Shapiro, Nick Fuentes' talking points. Yes, that's right, they have. All right, let me get through these couple tips here, and then I will send you guys over to Mr. Miranchuk, Mr. Luongo, and Mr. Jatras.
In loving memory of our problematic waifu, I send this to pay her passage to the afterlife. If they want to run against the Fuentes, Tucker wing, then we have a surprise for them. We are the Justine wing.
Oh no. Please just let Justine rest. She's tired. She needs to rest. Thank you. R.I.P. TTS Queen. And one more from R.I.P. TTS Queen.
They may find 10 million people to die for Israel, and we can find 10 million people to kill Israel. I see no conflict here. Target-rich environment, boys. How do we turn this forced marriage into an advantage? The answer is, as always, attack.
Hell yes! No, don't play again. No.
They may find 10 million people to die for Israel, and we can find 10...
Mute that. Okay. Yes, attack. We'll talk more about this, about how to navigate our way through this forced marriage and which direction these things are going and which the different competitors and stuff. I've got an interesting thread on James Lindsay trying to be the new William F. Buckley of this era. And so we'll go through that. We'll talk about the different factions on the right as they emerge. And we'll get into more of this on future labes. If this is your first time watching, please make sure you follow on Kick. You can support the stream by contributing to the Make More Erickson's Fund at tips.kingpill.com, and I will read your, I will play your tips when they show up here. You can also support the show through Venmo and Cash App at Kingpilled or buymeacoffee.com/Kingpilled. And reminder one more time that there is a meetup next Friday evening in DC, a King-Pilled meetup. I've got a group chat, going to be updating that with some details here shortly. So if you would like to be added to the group chat to know when and where we are meeting on next Friday, November 14th, then hit me up. realkingpilled@gmail.com or DM me at realkingpilled on Twitter. Now, as soon as I play Hulk for you guys, you have to promise me. Oh yeah, join the fucking Discord as well. Kingpilled.com. Yes, Augustine, I got your email. Both of them. Yes, I'm going to give you guys Hulk, but as soon as it's done, you have to promise me, you have to solemnly swear that you're going to go right over to Miranchuk Now. It's probably on Kick. It's definitely on YouTube. And go listen, support, give the man some money, and enjoy what should be an epic spectacle between Mr. Tom Luongo, Mr. Jim Jatras. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another episode of the Astrolabe. Until then, it'll be a Wednesday, Warthog Wednesday. We'll see you guys for Warthog Wednesday. For now, I leave you with Hulk.
When they took a shot
at my hero. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania